Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting version of Chip Talks podcast. So today we're going to talk about something a little different. We're going to actually drill into how we modulate the endocannabinoid system with our supplements. So normally we don't do much really, let's say, self-promotion, on these podcasts, but this gives me an opportunity to talk to you guys a little bit about how you can modulate the endocannabinoid system and kind of what we've done in Truemedx to, let's say, solve problems or modulate the endocannabinoid system in certain ways. So if you're a formulator, this will be kind of fun for you, I would hope. If you're a smart guy out there looking for ways to do things to the human body, then this one might be fun for you. So we know a fair bit about the endocannabinoid system and we know how to modulate it. Now, how do we know that? Well, we kind of had to break paradigms, let's say. So we all have been taught, let's say, an understanding of human function and the human body and how the human body works, right? And it's, kind of, let's call it the pharma model, if you will. And pharma's done some good stuff, absolutely. And pharma's saved a lot of lives. But at the same time, they've kind of developed this model that in the 1930s was pretty good, but perhaps maybe we've moved beyond it now. And it turns out that well after the 1930s, a human system was discovered called the endocannabinoid system. And this system was discovered in the early 1990s. And it took, technology that was discovered in the 1980s in order to discover the endocannabinoid system. So you couldn't have really begun to look at or discover the endocannabinoid system until we had things like assays, like neurological kind of receptor binding assays and things like that, where we could test things. So all that happened in the 80s. But anyway, we had those big changes that happened. We began to figure out this system, let's say in the mid to late 2000s. There was a big important discovery called retrograde signaling that happened in the early 2000s and really led to the whole, let's say, immune side of the endocannabinoid system, the CV2 side, and kind of how all that works, and the nerve side, basically how the nerve side worked. But, fascinating stuff. But all of these discoveries indicate that this endocannabinoid system is our master regulatory system. Okay. And so what does that mean? It means you kind of work like a car. Okay. And we all understand in our car, we've got a computer. That computer is always looking to control everything in that car. So it uses the electrical system as its mechanism of action and sensor array. So if you need to change oil pressure, you need to, adjust valve pressure, whatever, there's a computer in your car that's making those decisions and using the electrical system to do all that. Well, in you, again, it's a little more sophisticated than that, but you have a hypothalamus hippocampus that's our computer. It's using the endocannabinoid system to watch everything and monitor everything and try to kind of regulate everything. If stuff gets out of bounds, that sends a signal. And again, the endocannabinoid system is used to try to rewrite that situation. Now, there's a lot of finer systems under the endocannabinoid system, like dopamine and serotonin would be under the endocannabinoid, everything other than the endocannabinoid system. And let's say your body electric is not necessarily under the endocannabinoid system. Although the endocannabinoid system does have a lot of control over your body electric via calcium. Calcium is a great way to depolarize a cell at any time, and the endocannabinoid system could dump calcium into a cell, which is cool stuff. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about today. We don't want to get too technical. So that's kind of how this endocannabinoid system works, right? So it's like the sensor array and kind of computer system in our car, and so that's the way it works inside of us. Now, the cool thing is it doesn't just work automatically, right? You're kind of configurable, and I can change the way that this system is working. I can put you in a cold room, and that'll change the way that your endocannabinoid system is working. I could, get you in a fasted state, so have you not eat for 5 hours. That will change the way your endocannabinoid system is working. If I stress you, if I give you a virus or something like that, then that's going to basically, invoke your endocannabinoid system, and it's going to begin to attack those things. So we need to really begin to look at ourselves more as this thing is more like a car, it's more like a vehicle, right? So it works in a very predictable way The consciousness and all that, again, I think we're two things. I think we're an incarnated, beautiful, wonderful, multidimensional soul, incarnated in this physical reality. But this physical reality is explainable as a machine. Okay. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. And, I don't care what PhD Joe or somebody else says. I'm telling you, this is high truth. This is, again, you can believe me or not, but you can go down the same rabbit holes I have, and you'll learn the same truths that I've learned, I guess is the best way to say it. So, no one can shake that foundation once you've learned those truths for yourself. And that's true for me. Okay. So now we know that this endocannabinoid system is kind of our master regulatory system. Well, let's talk through, some things, some situation, right? Well, again, first of all, it sure looks like design-wise, you're designed pretty perfect, right? So you're designed to, every cell inside of you is always wanting to repair. It's always wanting to strive toward perfect function. Perfect, 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 perfect. And yet all of us, we go the other way. And it doesn't really matter how old you are, if you're sick, if you have a disease or something, perfect. Everything in you is striving toward perfect. It takes something, right, to pull our function down, to not basically have us be perfect. So something has to pull our function down. Now, what could that something be? I mean, again, you might live over a uranium mine. Well, that's going to pull your function down. If you smoke cigarettes, that's going to pull your function down. If you, eat the wrong things, right? So that's going to pull your function down. But the biggest thing that pulls our function down is pathogens, really, is some kind of bug. And why? Well, it's like a cycle, right? We don't understand how to work our immune system. And again, we've done lots of videos about working your immune system, so I won't go into that, but we don't really understand how to work our immune system. And so I'm a Star Trek fan. So again, it's like flying into the Klingons with their shields down. I mean, we're just going to get smoked, right? So we're going to get all of these viruses, bacterias, funguses, and parasites that if we knew what we were doing, if somebody gave us our operations manual for this thing, then we could run our immune system and we could defend ourselves, let's say, against these things. Now, the other thing that happens is because we don't understand this concept of our shields and what happens when we eat and blah, 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 blah. Again, we've done a lot of videos about that. Then we go into danger all the time with our shields down. We get infected with stuff. And because our shields are down, that stuff has a lot higher probability of really hooking you, of really getting you into a severe infection state. Now, the other thing that I'll say is you'll think, oh, well, Chip, you're talking about, pathogens and bugs. I haven't been to I don't roll around in the sewer every day. I don't skip barefoot through poo. How in the world am I ever going to get these bugs? Ask your dog, ask your pig, ask your sheep, ask your cow, ask your horse, because we all get these things. And, we deworm those things about every 6 months, don't we? When was the last time you dewormed yourself? Yeah. So we all get that stuff. And in fact, we get it more readily because those things know how to work their immune system. And again, because they're in nature, they're naturally working their immune system. You're not because of your eating behavior. And again, watch the past videos. So let's talk about some things. So again, as I look at you and kind of let's say the human population, what is the biggest problem? Well, the biggest problem is we don't understand this thing, right? And so we do all kinds of damage to it all the time by just our lack of knowledge. So that's why it's so important to try to teach you guys about how you work and your function and all that. But then past that, the biggest problem, again, is going to be some kind of pathogen. And the pathogens is a virus, bacteria, fungus, or parasite. So the biggest things that we see in that stuff that wants to eat you, take control of you, break you down, make you die, eat you, right? Yeah. So those things, right? So the most common thing that we see in people is something called hook, round, and pinworm. So hookworms are their own thing, pinworms are their own thing, roundworms are their own thing. But we see these as kind of a category of bugs called helminths. And so we see these in a lot of people, meaning that, let's say, our machine indicates them in a lot of people. We can't really see them in people. We can get an indication. And again, they can cause all manner of problems, right? So hook, round, and pinworm infect, it depends on where you go to look for this stuff, but 60 to 70% of us I would say that when we scan people, I see this in probably 80% of us. So it's highly likely that you have some kind of hookground and pinworm infection. So now, what does that mean? So let's talk through what a hookground and pinworm infection means. Well, that means a little hookground or pinworm has infected you in your intestines or somewhere in your gut. And that little guy has rewired your immune system in a microenvironment. So he's had to do enough. Your immune system's really strong, really powerful. It can kill a whole lot of stuff, right? So that hookground or pinworm has had to do things to deflect your immune system, to either distract it in another way or rewire stuff where you're not going to kill that guy. Now, your immune system still tries, and it uses a lot of resources to try to kill the bug. And again, once the bug has you hooked, he can reproduce, he can begin to expand, he can build his little world, right? So all out through your colon, all out through your gut, all out through your digestive area. So, and that's exactly what they do. And again, now your immune system is super concerned about what to do. And your immune system begins to pull more resources, because it's normally not having to fight this massive whopping infection and inflammation. So it has to pull more resources. And again, the resources where it pulls from are bone. So you begin to have some bone loss right off, osteoporosis. Then you get high blood pressure because you're having to move all this stuff around in blood. Then your kidneys get tired and they say, gee, I'm tired. I'm going to start throwing off type 2 diabetic markers and I'm going to start, quitting on you. And the last thing to get involved is your heart. And that might take, 10 years for your heart to get involved with a hookground and pinworm infection, but it will eventually, certainly if you don't address it. These things don't just go away. They don't just go away. You can you can fast and run and exercise and all that. Hookground and pinworms don't just go away. They have beat your immune system and they will continue to beat your immune system unless we intervene. So what we've done is we built a product called Deworm. I got tired of sending people to Tractor Supply for ivermectin and things like that, right? Because that's the suggested thing for hookground and pinworm. And ivermectin will work really good for hookground and pinworm, but so will this product. And why does this product work? Well, this product is based on basically things that the bugs don't like. I'm trying to look at that hijack situation. So how the bugs basically hijack you and your immune system, and then get in the middle of that with supplements. And so that's exactly what this product does. We're getting great reports from this product that, again, if you can think about, I had a 30-year hookground and pinworm infection and all the symptoms that would cause. Well, guess what? You get rid of the hookground and pinworms and all those symptoms go away. So Deworm is a very, let's say, important. Now, by the way, we have 30 SKUs in Truemedx, so I'm not going to go through all of them. Let's see. We'll go for 3 hours today. So I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'm just going to kind of go through some of the more important ones. Now, one of the things that we see in addition to hookground and pinworm is something called H. pylori. And so H. pylori is a bacteria that invades the stomach. He's responsible for ulcers. So if you have an ulcer, you have H. pylori, or 95% chance you have H. pylori, and that's causing it. If you have stomach cancer, that is H. pylori. H. pylori will cause cancer. It'll cause bloating. It'll cause gastric upset. It'll cause, can't eat certain things because it just burns too bad. And we somehow live with this, right? So a lot of you guys are just out there going, oh, well, every time I eat XYZ, it just burns like hell. Every time I eat bread, it bloats. And that's not normal, okay? You're not designed to run that way. Perfect is how you're designed to run. So if you're having bloating or burning or upset or whatever, you likely have some kind of bacterium, and it's likely H. pylori. H. pylori is really hard to kill, and you don't kill. Turns out, sadly, this guy won't kill H. pylori. It'll help with H. pylori. It'll help kind of clear your gut and help your immune system kind of catch up and then begin to attack the H. pylori. But we had to build another product for H. pylori. And this product's called Blast. Now, this product has a lot of berberine in it, and berberine is really, really good at killing bugs. And it's interesting how it works because all it does is it sort of takes away one of the ways that they're confusing your immune system. So the bugs will release a lot of stuff called LPS, so lipopolysaccharide, into your bloodstream, and it's irritating. So it's an irritant. It will cause basically inflammation, a bunch of inflammation. But the way that you sense it in immune cells is through something called TLR4, toll-like receptor 4. And we block that guy with berberine. And it turns out that's a really effective strategy at kind of helping your immune system to, get on top of pylori and things like that and actually beat them. Now, again, some of this stuff will, directly kill, let's say, the bugs, but what's mainly happening here is it's just, giving your immune system kind of the horsepower it needs to defeat these guys. Because again, you're always striving toward perfect. So you can defeat a lot of stuff. Plants and animals, plants in particular have to defend themselves against the same thing that we do as far as bacteria, funguses, parasites, pathogens, right? And so it turns out that the way that they defend themselves, the stuff that they make to build shields, is super useful for you and I, as long as it's safe to take. So again, if a plant's figured out how to beat Wisteria bacteria, well, again, if I can safely take that, that's going to give me some protection against Wisteria bacteria. Okay, what do we want to talk about next? Okay, so, again, because the endocannabinoid system is our master regulatory system, it's involved with everything. So it's involved with stress, it's involved with anxiety, it's involved with sleep, it's involved with pain management, it's involved with, metabolism and how you set a tone for your body. So it's involved with everything. So there's really, people ask me all the time, well, Chip, what can you not help with? The endocannabinoid system is involved with everything. So there's really nothing, again, with the assumption that we're always striving toward perfect, because we always are. It's more of a question of figuring out what is broken or dysregulated in kind of the endocannabinoid system and subsequent systems, that's causing kind of an issue or situation, like with the pathogens, right? Or like with pain. So pain kind of has a look to it, and we'll talk about that next. So this is our pain product. And again, we use the endocannabinoid system to help basically stimulate your body to do a little bit different stuff than it normally would do. Okay. So we're, again, we're not, we can't magically make pain go away, but what we can do is stimulate your body to produce things that are anti-inflammatory, that are pain relieving. Okay. And so your body kind of it does two things with omega-3 and omega-6 fats. So omega-3 and omega-6 fats are the most important things that we put in our body every day. And it turns out that they also are the most important things for the endocannabinoid system. And they're essential, meaning that if you don't eat them, you don't get them, and you're not going to fuel your endocannabinoid system, and you're not going to really set a proper tone for your body. Okay, so as I eat omega-3 and omega-6s, omega-3s build anti-inflammatories and omega-6s build inflammatories. Right now, just by our diet, we're setting this super reactive, very inflammatory state that is not good for us. And again, if you have cancer and you eat normal, it's just, eating is going to add to your situation, not help your situation. So we can kind of drill back the reactivity in that situation by just eating more omega-3 fatty acids. So right now in our diet, we eat about 1 to 40 omega-3 to omega-6 fats. That is horrible. I mean, and meaning that it's, don't eat that potato chip, that's bad. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about deadly, horrible, because you set such a reactive, inflammatory state inside of us by over-consuming omega-6s. So how do we fix this? Eat more omega-3s. It's literally that freaking easy. Okay. So eating more, I'll come back to pain in a second, but eating more omega-3s, because it's tied into omega-3s, but eating more omega-3s absolutely will wind down this reactive situation. And it also does something else associated with pain that I'll talk about in a second. But anyway, we have an omega-3 supplement that's really good. This omega-3 supplement also has CBG in it, so cannabigerol, which is a very useful non-psychoactive cannabinoid. In fact, it's kind of the mother of all cannabinoids, but useful. So this is a very good omega-3 supplement that we have. Back to our pain, though, the way that your pain kind of management system works is you have things called prostaglandins. And prostaglandins are really important ways, let's say, that your endocannabinoid system is trying to control your inflammation and deflammation, but also your pain response. And so if your endocannabinoid system just has a bunch of omega-6 fatty acids, you're going to build a bunch of prostaglandin E2s. And prostaglandin E2s are kind of what indirectly, let's say, cause pain. Like if I shut off your E2s and your pain's going to go away. And if I give you more E2s, you're going to hurt more. So prostaglandin E2 is a way that your body does to signal pain, but also to signal inflammation. And those come from omega-6 fats. They come from arachidonic acid, which is your endocannabinoid system reclaim, but they all come from that particular place. Now, how you deflame comes from omega-3 fats, and in particular, prostaglandin E3, that comes from DHA. And again, you have to be eating omega-3 fatty acids for that to happen. So because of what we're eating right now, all these omega-6s over omega-3s, we're going to hurt. You don't really have any way to mitigate pain. All you've got is the, pain on signal. You don't have the pain off signal. And that comes from more omega-3s. In our pain relief product, one of the things that we do is we inhibit that whole mechanism. So if you look at there's this whole thing with arachidonic acid, which gets broken down into prostaglandin E2s, which cause pain, and then goes back to an enzyme called COX. So COX enzymes are what do all this. So what we do and this is what Tylenol does, although they do it horribly unsafely, and also some of the over-the-counter, let's say, pain relief, is they inhibit that enzyme system called COX, but they do it in a way that's not real safe. And so, things like Tylenol wouldn't make it likely up the drug development pathway with the FDA now. That's kind of how non-safe they are. But we do it in a safe way. So we use nature. Again, nature has built a beautiful system out here. Just, walk outside and appreciate that system every day because it's magnificent. And God has built us this great, kind of pharmacy, if you will, that's just right out here in nature. We just have to understand, just like we are in Truemedx, how to apply that nature to this endocannabinoid system to make changes inside of you, or basically let your body make the changes itself. That's all we're doing, is we're just kind of understanding how your body works. We're understanding where it might be stuck, and we're giving it the things that it needs. And we're kind of, getting out of the way and letting God do the work. And that's how our products work. So last product I want to talk about is a product called Rewind. So this product, my wife and I have been, and a lot of you guys know this, but some of you may not. So my wife and I are activists in the cannabis space. And so we helped get the legislation in Oklahoma done. We led that effort, really. And that's a whole nother story. But anyway, one of the things that we got asked right off is and we really tried, people have all kinds of impressions about the Oklahoma cannabis situation, but we really did try to make it medical, and that was the intent behind it. One of the things that we got, though, and I got a lot of, I got a lot of calls and things. Well, Chip, it's this is happening and that's happening, and well, I'm taking cannabis for this and that, and will this work and that work? And so got a lot of calls, let's say, right after we passed the law. But one of the things that people asked was, my grandmother wants to, take gummies to sleep. And she took a 25 milligram gummy instead of a 5 milligram gummy. And, she was up all night in a corner, freaking out. Right. So, and that was a common tale here in Oklahoma. And again, if you're in a state that's kind of just going green, that will be. The nice thing about a THC overdose is the kind of the worst consequence is, as people say, a good night's sleep. Right. So it's, a little scary maybe when you're going through it. But there's no physical harm that's going to come from it. So we decided to build a product that would help basically cut the anxiety associated with the THC overdose, because that's mainly what happens to people. They get anxious and they just can't control that anxiety, right? And they get scared, and it's a bad experience. But anyway, we built a product called Rewind. And so Rewind we built for basically that extreme, THC, I've taken too much and I don't know what to do. And this is just kind of cut that anxiety and knock it down. Well, it turns out this product, as we put it out in the market, began to have a lot of other uses. So we began to get reports back of people saying, hey, my kid has ADHD, and I tried some of the Rewind product and noticed that, big change, right? So big positive change. So that was interesting. And so we began to suggest our Rewind product, and we got another product called Calm for those potential situations. And then those have worked very, very well. The other thing that we have used this product for, people have reported that it works well for, are seizures. And so, we've seen a lot of reports of seizure relief with both this product and another product that we have called Calm, which is a similar product. The thing that we use this for, my wife and I use this for sleep. Okay, so it's a great product. It's in black seed oil, and she uses it every night. I'm starting to use it now because it's working so well for her. But it's a very good sleep product, and we've got some, kind of luminaries, let's say, that use this product for sleep. So anyway, that's just a few of our products. I don't want to obviously go through all of them, but the big thing that I really want to communicate with you guys, this show, this Chip Talks podcast, is about talking to you guys about the things that we're discovering, this just almost unbelievable cornucopia of information about human health that sort of falls under the endocannabinoid system. And, it's vast. I mean, it's everything about our health. And so this show is really devoted to teaching you guys about what we're learning, to kind of give you insights and help you on your journey and help you on your personal journey and help you on, help your family or kind of whatever you're wanting to do on this journey. But we're just really here to give you information. Now, the fact that we have that information and can use that information to build product, hopefully should let you guys know our products do well. They work as designed, they're well built, well engineered products. And if they're not, we pull them, and we really haven't had that happen yet. But we would pull them, let's say, if it did. So I'm not going to really, get on here and preach to you guys too much about buy our products, but I will tell you that we have some really good products. They are based on my patent, which is a knowledge-based patent about how this all works. It's an engineering patent, which allows me to do a whole lot of things under this system with food, which is really cool, and also with cannabinoids. Anyway, that's it for today. We will see you guys back next week for another exciting version of Chip Talks.